welcome to this video. Welcome to Jardín, a small village in Antioquia. Welcome to our finca, which is Spanish for farm, because we are staying in a coffee farm. Look, my favorite fruit in the world, coffee. There's also bananas on this farm. You see there, the green bags. There's bananas in there. There's also oranges. Wow! Look at these glorious coffee beans. Wow, 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 wow. Beautiful. Now we have arrived here the day before yesterday. Yesterday we did a really small ride just to explore the village a little bit. Today we're going to do a longer ride, and I thought I would take today's ride as an excuse to talk about one of the things you ask questions about all the time, which is the equipment we use to shoot photos and videos. Obviously Mike and Alberto are the photographers here. I'm the videographer. So during today's ride, which is 110 kilometers with a lot of climbing, we're going to ride to the village of Jardín. We will each talk a little bit about our setup, what sort of camera we use, why we use it, maybe some tips, I don't know. We'll see what everyone has to say. I'll kick it off with talking about my new drone. In the intro of this video you could see a little bit of drone footage. I shot that with my brand new DJI Mavic 3 Cine drone. I got it just before this trip as an upgrade to the DJI Mavic 2S the DJI Mavic Air 2S that I was using before. That was a little bit smaller, but I was tempted by the way better sensor in this one. Big downside is a lot bigger. Not only the drone is bigger, also the controller is bigger. So I think it will be much harder for me to bring it on the bike, which I used to do with the 2S all the time. We just put it in my frame bag or in like a hydration pack. With this one, I think I'm not going to be doing that too often. So on the days that I want to bring a drone on the bike on an adventure, I will probably borrow Mike's drone, which is a Mini 2 or Mini 3, which is even more tiny than the 2S that I had before. Also a little bit worse image quality, but for those days that's nice and compact, easy to bring. What I like about the drone is that you can get a way better sort of sense of the area where we're riding in, because all of the other shots are from up close. It's hola Alberto. It gives you a sense of what we're doing, but not always a sense of where we are doing it. So, which is why I enjoy taking the drone, if I can, to shoot some nice aerial shots. Now, gonna get dressed. Gonna put on long sleeve because I got burned yesterday. Forgot to put sunscreen on. Stupid me. Let's get on the ride, and then we'll talk about all the other cameras that we normally bring on a ride. See you out on the bike. Next camera, perhaps my favorite one, is a DJI Action 2. A very small, handy action camera. A lot smaller than a GoPro, but similar image quality. I'm using a Pro Standard grill mount to put it in my mouth when I want to film action shots. Descent, gravel, anytime I want to have two hands on the handlebars, I just chuck this in my mouth, puff, puff, puff. I can film anything I want. Downside is that of course the image quality is not as good as the camera that I'm filming this on. The audio also is pretty bad, but something that Mike and I always say, the best camera is the camera that you can use at the moment that you want to capture a moment.
Exactly.
So,
that have to go with you.
So it's better to have a worse quality shot of an incredible, spectacular moment than to only use a good camera and then not to get all the shots of the moments that you cannot get because it's a big expensive camera. So shout out to DJI.
Did you already tell the magnetic part about it? Because that's, I think, the coolest thing. I don't know how, but sometimes you have it in your mouth. Yeah. You look how easy. Yeah. Oh, just very strong. Take it out and then you put it under the saddle. Yeah. And then grab it back and it's out again. So that's a smart feature, because with the GoPro and the whole screw and everything,
wouldn't be able to do that. Yeah. Easy. Only downside, shorter battery life than a GoPro.
Yeah. Because where's the battery?
Battery is in my pocket. I can charge it on the go. Buenas.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the shutter speed that you see right now.
Oh yeah. Yes. Let's go in the shadow here.
Alright, next camera I film with, the main cam, is a Sony A7C. It's the lightest weight full frame camera Sony has. I'm using a 16-35mm G lens. 16 is good for when you're filming yourself from close, get a wide angle. 35 is nice for when you want to zoom in a little bit more on your friends or colleagues. And I don't know, you want to get a little bit closer to the subject, get a little bit of compression. How much compression do you have? I'm sitting far away.
This is 35.
35.
Full frame, so that's...
Same, yeah. Same as me, when I get most of them. The fluffy thing I have here is the microphone. Hello, hello, hello. It's a digital microphone, also by Sony. I don't know what it's called, but I'll put a link in the description with the name. It's got a nice big dead cat on it, so that when we are riding on the bike, a lot of wind, we can still hear what people are saying on the bike. All of this camera is weather sealed, so it's not like if I put it in water I'm fucked, but if it rains a little bit or I sweat a little bit on it, it's fine. I've got a screen protector on the screen here on the back, just to keep it safe on my back. How you carry it on your bike is with a riller strap. Carry it on your back, one-handed, open it up, shoot. And I think that's it for my cameras. Oh, what I've got on the front of here is an ND filter, which really helps if you want to keep your shutter speed the same. So you get a little bit of motion blur, 30 frames per second shooting, 1/60th shutter speed. If you want to learn more about that, you can ask Peter McKinnon. So that's my camera setup.
No slow-mo, no different settings, nothing.
I don't use slow-mo that much anymore. If I do, I film in 120 frames per second. Then I can slow it down 4 times. I do it sometimes. So I shoot 30 frames per second on all the cameras so that they're all the same and that my vlogs are all in 30 frames per second. I think that's it. Any top tips? Just film everything that happens. You guys? Photography?
We have a pair because we have both the new Fujifilm X-T5. The X-T line is already, I think 5, maybe 6 years old now. Almost analog camera. You have all your dials here, ISO, shutter speed, and compensation. Never used compensation, so that was on the plus 2. But you just cannot check everything here if you want. I have the ISO still here, I have the shutter speed here, and the aperture is on the lens. For me, the perfect camera for photography because you can, without looking in menus or anything, you can switch it very quickly, close the aperture, switch shutter speeds with your finger, and yeah, it should be easy. The rest is mirrorless camera, so you can see a preview already live on your screen. So if you're adjusting, you're descending, you can give a small glimpse what you're going to see. And fire. The rest, the most important and the most questions is about the lenses, I think, and that depends a lot what we are shooting. But for cycling and on the bike, and definitely when you do riding the routes that Martijn makes, 2,000 to 3,000 elevation meters. We want as light as possible. So for today we had 2 lenses with us. That's the 23 and the 50, calculated to full frame, 35 and 75. The last years I always had the frame rack with me, put some lenses in there so I always can change. Why I don't have a zoom lens then, because then you have it all in all one, less aperture. In my style I love a lot of depth of field, so the blurry background, and that's nice if you have f2. This is an f2 lens, so small, a lot of depth of field, and the same as that. And now Alberto's here with the same camera. You can just switch all around, and that's super easy to, if I want another perspective, because if you're shooting the whole day on the same lens, for me it's a little bit boring, so we change, and tomorrow we take another combination. For the whole week I think we variate between 23 and 90, so there's all the lenses in between, you can search it up, all the f2 lenses, so we have all different kinds of perspectives, what we see.
That's the filter, right? And the difference mainly between you and me is like, well, I'm learning from him, I'm shooting in C, and he's shooting in S.
No, we're both shooting in C.
Well,
What is C?
what is C?
We put it on C in the front because there's continuous focusing. At cycling we of course everything moves all the time and locks on the subject and continues all the time, focusing in between the shots. With the S, just focus once, perfect for portraits, but if it's moving, it's not good enough. And you can vary between, of course, the new cameras, and also this one can be 20 shots a second. I can do it, but then I have a nightmare with editing because we have so much shots. So we vary between 3 and 5 shots a second.
Yeah.
So
and with 3 you have enough. From
every time you try to make a photo, you make a tree, so if the eyes are closed or the pedal is just a little bit strange, you always have a backup. The only difference between us, I think at the moment, is the shutter speed. Alberto is using aperture priority, so he's switching all the time the lenses if you want different shutter speed.
So we go to like aperture 2.
Wide open, a lot of background blur. If you close it, there's a lot of motion blur because the shutter speed, the photo will be darkening because the lens is closing. So the shutter speed goes also down, and that means more blurry, the same as what Martijn has with his videos. You have more blur in your shots, and that's cool because you see a lot of speed in your photos. So you can very quickly change between the apertures, and it's also variate the shutter speed.
This is motion blur.
And then I never trust the camera, so I want to do everything manually. Means also the focus dot, where do I focus in the shot, is with the joystick very quickly, try to change the point. And then with the scroll wheel in the front, I change the shutter speed and also the aperture, of course. Now we go very technical, but I think that's the main thing of the camera.
Well, I really like it now, having the shutter speed in like 80 or 60, and having an open maximum here at 16. So then some example is like this. So you can see a little bit more movement on the background and the bike, and then just focusing in one point, trying to focus maybe on the shoe or in the helmet, so then you can have all the motion going, like I have the feeling of the speed. And also because it's going on trend right now, so all the photos are going like a bit motion, just trying to get the one point like focus and then all movement. But I really like that. Trying to learn from Miguelito Natural in this trip. So that's why I got the same camera and learning from the best.
And the most important tip is, before you make a photo, what's the story about that photo? Is it only the rider? Then just take the high shutter speed, freeze the moment, your friend will be in focus most of the time, and you have a nice photo. If there's a more in the story, nature, the road, the speed, the position, something else, then think how you get the best story about it. So low shutter speeds, different lenses, different things, but first of all, yeah.
And what about...
enjoy making photos.
Definitely money shot. I also use the real star. Very happy about it. I can descend with my real strap. Easy. And then
You cannot understand what makes the real strap different.
well,
Joking. So if you want to begin and buy a camera, just buy a camera. Don't make really sense which camera you want. Just that the camera that you want to use. That's the most important. That you want to bring, you're proud of, and then I would prefer one prime lens so that you have just knowing that angle very well, using that lens all the time. And if you want to have a zoom, just use your legs and walk to there.
and then get an insurance.
Did you drop it?
I don't know what happened, but it's the protector. But just in case it dropped, get an insurance.
And send in all your photos to me, like Alberto, and I will edit them. Another village, saw this beautiful bridge. We just passed it already. But then we looked behind us and saw, oh, that'd be nice for a photo. I think 99% of the photos are not staged, but sometimes like this, I want to make a photo of this bridge because it's nice. Better to have than a friend on the bridge. That is even double positive, a double reminder of how it was here.
ngata sutukun molule salam alaikum ngata sutukun molule salam alaikum ya mutanina ya mutanina dunia ya mutanina dunia ya mutanina